Hello and welcome back to my channel. So in this video I wanted to talk about a particular story which involves Nazis and the occult. And actually I had only very recently heard about this story from Bedtime Stories. Now this was a bit strange because I love to research Nazis and their relation with occult. There is actually a very powerful link between Nazism and occultism. And not just that, by the way, you will be surprised how many cults there are right now that have histories with the Nazis and ties to white supremacy. So, I love researching this stuff. So I was surprised that I hadn't heard about this story until recently. So, I wanted to share it with you guys. So let's talk about it. Before I begin this video, let me just say this. Words are hard. German words are harder. I have been trying to pronounce Rathaus for the past half an hour, and I still don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. So if I mess up any words during this video, and honestly, ever, please know that it was not my intention. It's just me being a dumbass. So let's talk about it. This story takes place in Germany during the end days of World War II. On 12 April 1945, the city of Celle Neus Rathaus surrendered. There was no resistance whatsoever. The town hall somehow survived the bombing. The building itself had 5 floors above the ground and 5 below, and it seemed like a good place to house the occupying troops. And actually, as Hitler rose to power, the Rathaus served as a military headquarters for the SS previously. As the English and American forces made their final push through Germany, they found out that the Nazis had actually flooded and sealed the lower levels of Rathaus with concrete. Now this was actually quite interesting because there was no real reason for the Nazis to flood and seal the lower levels of the Rathaus. It made no sense. And the commanding officer on the site was also quite intrigued by this discovery. Now, during the last days of the war, the Nazi regime had hidden some valuable stolen artifacts. Therefore, the general thought that perhaps these priceless treasures might still exist in the building's lower levels. Therefore, Lieutenant General Brian Horrocks, the commanding officer on the site, ordered a dive expedition to investigate the lower levels of the Rathaus. Now this is where it starts to get a little bit strange. So the expedition took place on April 15, 1945. There were 3 divers who were sent down, each of them tethered by a line to the surface, and each of them were sent down at a different entry point. After 30 minutes, only one of the men resurfaced. The tethers of the other 2 were retrieved, but not their bodies, unfortunately. When he finally emerged out of the water, he was ranting and raving like a madman, and it took him hours to calm down. Now, keep in mind that this guy was an experienced diver at the time, and probably one of the most experienced ones in the world. He was originally a part of US Navy dive team as well. He was not like a beginner or something. So this was already strange. What made it more strange was his actual account of what happened down there. Upon entering the lower floors, he claimed that he saw strange symbols and pentagrams etched on the walls. If this was not strange enough, he also said that he came across multiple mutilated bodies strapped to their chairs. The state of their corpses was nothing like he had ever seen before. Their abdomens were ripped. Some of them had missing limbs, and most horrifically, some of them featured the heads of goats sewn onto human bodies. And even more strangely, he claimed that there was a dark form chasing him as he tried to ascend back to water. After this, the diver was never the same, and actually he refused to dive ever again, and he took a medical discharge not long after this. The bodies of the other two divers were never recovered. After a few days, the British Army arrived to formally occupy the zone, and on April 21st, Celle Rathaus was handed over to the British Army. And soon after that, the lower levels were resealed again with concrete. Now, this is all very strange, but that's not where the strangeness ends. After that point, there have been multiple paranormal events around Celle Neus Rathaus, especially during the Cold War. During the Cold War, the building became a permanent barracks for the NATO troops, and the soldiers who were there reported multiple paranormal phenomena. These mainly include stuff like hearing sounds of marching men and sounds of jackboots in the empty hallways. There is even a more dramatic account by Martin Fox, who awoke abruptly one of the nights to find his bed levitating 8 feet off the ground. After he realized this was not a prank, he panicked, and this caused the bed to come down crashing. There were also often sightings of shadowy figures in hallways and corners. So stories like these, they spread very quickly. And there were also occasions where soldiers would dare the recruits to stay a night in one of the rooms. And unfortunately, some of them actually took their own lives afterwards. Now, whether this was because of the paranormal activity or not is up for debate. There is a very high suicide risk in overseas military. I'll leave it up to your imagination as to why that might be the case. So whether or not this was because of the paranormal activity, I don't know. But yeah. Now, let's talk about some logical theories about this strange incident. Now, it is a fact that the Nazis did flood the lower floors of the Rathaus. And it is a fact that the diver, to put it lightly, had a weird experience. But maybe this weird experience by this one diver could be explained. Perhaps it was because of the fatigue from the long war and an intense workload that had some effects on the diver. It could be. It could also be the case that because the divers had to dive in a claustrophobic environment, that might also play some role. And it's also likely that the two divers became trapped somewhere in that closed environment, and therefore they died there. It's quite likely. And also, we know that when someone dives for an extended period of time underwater, there could be some harmful effects because of the water pressure. Basically, it increases the carbon dioxide in the blood, and because of that, there might be some hallucinations that might have happened. It could very well be the case. So if you're someone who wants a purely logical explanation, there you have it. Those are the logical explanations that could explain away the things that the diver may have experienced and why the other two divers, why they never resurfaced. You could think that there was nothing strange down there and it was just the hallucinations that took over the diver. You could say that. I, for one, don't believe that there was nothing down there. Because here's the thing, the Nazis did flood the building. And if they flood the building, there must be a reason why they flood the building, right? So maybe, just maybe, this is the theory I believe, by the way. I think that this is the most logical explanation. Here's what I think happened. The Nazis flooded the building because of a very simple reason. They wanted to cover up their war crimes. And actually, the Nazis often used large bodies of water to destroy evidence of war crimes or to hide treasures in the war. So it's not a very unlikely scenario. So let's imagine that there were some war crimes committed down there. So the diver who survived, saw these war crimes, and because he saw these horrific war crimes, and because he was underwater, he hallucinated about occult pentagram stuff. I mean, come on. We all know that the Nazis, they were bad people. Wow. I couldn't really describe it any other way, huh? We all know that the Nazis conducted very horrific experiments and committed very horrific war crimes as well. So, how many of us could really see evidence of that in real life without being traumatized or having some sort of a psychological reaction, So that's what I think happened to that diver. He saw something, he saw some war crimes there, and he couldn't handle it, and because he was underwater, he hallucinated some things about the occult. Let me know what you guys think though. Do you guys agree with my theory, or do you guys think that no, that's not likely? Maybe you think that there were some treasures down there, and that's why the Nazis flooded the building. I don't know. You guys tell me. What do you guys think? And regarding that paranormal events, this is something that I never talked about on this channel, but yours truly believes in ghosts, and the reason why I believe in ghosts is because I have to. I mean, I wish I didn't have to, but quite literally, last week I heard a giant fucking knock on my door at 4 a.m. Bear in mind that everyone is asleep. I have no pets here, so who knocked my door? It was a giant knock. It wasn't like a little knock or something like that. No, it was a giant knock, and I heard it. And eventually I got really scared, and I went into the kitchen and turned out the lights and didn't come back to my bedroom for 2 hours. And the next night there were some knocks again, and again I tried to ignore it as much as I could. And then later on, I apologized to the ghost who was trying to communicate me, and I said that I wouldn't be an asshole and I would communicate the next night if the ghost came. And on the third night, the knocks never came. So I don't know, maybe the ghost was offended that I didn't talk to them when they wanted to talk. I don't know what's going on. It didn't feel like a harmful spirit or anything like that, so I don't know. What do you guys think? I think that we're pretty good, right? I mean, they stopped, and I'm pretty happy now, so I don't know. I don't know if we're good or not. I think we're good, right? I guess my paranormal experiences aren't really that scary. I don't know if that's a fortunate thing or an unfortunate thing. But yeah. Long story short, I believe in ghosts because I have to. I wish I didn't have to, really, because it's illogical. It makes no sense. I wish I didn't have to believe in it, but I have to because I heard those knocks, and there was literally nothing that could have made those knocks. So I do believe that there might have been some paranormal experiences going on there. It's possible. Maybe there are some spirits still there. I don't know. It is possible. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that there's some paranormal stuff happening there? Or do you guys think that, nah, Jean, you're crazy. This is crazy. Ghosts don't exist. Shut up. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. So yeah, that's all that I have for this video. Like this video if you liked it. Comment your thoughts down below about what you think. Subscribe for more videos. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.